Hey everybody, and welcome to the 37th, if you can believe it, episode of the Insiders on Real Estate and Marketing. I'm your host, Sandy Hibbard, and I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Marc Miller, and today's guest, my friend Ben Baker of the Ben Baker team at Keller Williams. So we are super excited to be bringing you February. I can't believe it's already the end of February.
I know.
Can you guys?
No, it's crazy.
You know, we've got one more scare toward maybe having a frost before I'm going to plant my stuff.
Yep.
I looked it up, and I think it's March 21st is the last freeze warning. So anyway, all is good. The business isn't freezing, though, I don't think.
No,
Thank goodness it's not.
no, it's not. In fact, thankfully it's picking up a little bit.
Yeah.
So we're up about 30% from last month, and
Well,
that's good.
That's good.
I'm a little bit concerned now, or interested, probably is a better word, with CPI coming out, and it's high.
Yeah.
So that means inflation's not getting under control. That means
Right.
they're going to make a move on
Yeah.
the interest rate side. So hopefully it's not going to be too extreme, and that's not always necessarily indicative of the interest rate and mortgage changing.
Well, a
as
friend of mine asked just this morning, we were talking about the show, and he said, so what's the news on real estate? And I said, well, I really don't think there's any news in real estate right now.
No.
Everything seems to be kind of leveled out since as the first of the year has launched. Am I right?
Well, yeah, and then you get through, and Ben would attest to this as well, you get through the holiday side, and now we're in, we get through January, and we kind of get our motion going, and now we're getting momentum going, and now I'm seeing the transactional side come into play, which I'm thankful to see.
Good,
That side.
good.
We still got some distance to cover, but
Yeah.
and we're in the best place we can possibly be
Without a doubt.
Absolutely.
in the United States.
And I tell
Always.
folks, once we get past the holiday hangover, right, which is, getting through January, we've already seen, and what's really interesting is it's almost been just within the last 2 to 3 weeks, we've seen things flip to where we're seeing the days on the market now fall. We're seeing the list to sale ratio increase significantly. Ellen Gomez, who's a friend of mine with Remax, I've got so many agents that are now reporting in. They're listing property in Plano, Frisco with multiple offers.
That's good.
I've got clients that are down south. A month ago, there would be 7 properties for us to view. As of last week, of the 7 properties that came on the market, 5 were gone within 2 days. All had multiple offers on them. And I'm not saying that we're headed back toward that. We are seeing that the nice and well cared for properties are still moving very quickly. So I think that trend will continue, especially if we settle like I expect somewhere in the 5s by year's end.
Right.
That's going to buckle up, because
Yeah.
it's going to be crazy
I agree, and I hope so.
if and when that happens.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, we'll see.
I believe that it will,
Yeah.
and that's my hope. But I think even if it doesn't, who really cares if we're sitting here at 6? Because my first home was at 11%.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So 6% doesn't scare me.
It's not that bad.
At all. It's not that bad. Historically, we're setting at a probably high 6, low 7, historically, right? Has always maintained that was a decent rate. But, we got spoiled being down to low 3s, right?
Absolutely.
And our leader and most of the folks I follow say that we'll never get there again in my lifetime.
I agree.
In my lifetime. And I agree with that.
Yeah.
Well, and so you heard it from our guest, Mr. Ben Baker. Let me introduce to the show. We're super glad to have you, Ben. Ben Baker leads the Ben Baker team over at Keller Williams. And Ben and I go way back. When I was actually putting the numbers, I couldn't believe when I say 2005. That's almost 20 years ago.
I know, right?
That's a long time ago.
long time.
Anyway, we were doing the Prime Lending had hired Lyric Marketing to come and do a real estate roundtable. So I put this roundtable together, and I call a few people that I was working with, some clients, and we gathered about I think we started with about 12. And Ben was one of those realtors that came to the roundtable. And I'll never forget, in the classes, we were all at first a little bit uncomfortable because we had like Ben from Keller Williams, we had Mary from Ebby Holiday, we had so-and-so from another one, and all of these different brokers were represented at this roundtable, and nobody was really wanting to share their marketing secrets. So everybody's just kind of like, And as it started unfolding and as everybody began to earn each other's trust and realized that this market is big enough for all of us. And so then Ben can start sharing his stuff, and Kadena started sharing her stuff. And before you know it, we're getting all this amazing ideas flowing. And then I would put all that together, and I'd give every realtor, back then, 2005, a disc full of marketing for the next month. So we did this every month and lasted for about a year. And that's how I came to know Ben Baker. And it was great working with you then, fun doing marketing and brainstorming marketing, because I've always said that realtors are the #1 marketers out there of any business. You guys have got to live and breathe marketing in order to make your businesses go. So
I would agree with that.
Yeah, so hi.
Again, thank you so much. I'm so blessed to be here.
While.
What's crazy is I still have all of those discs. I have them all. And now
That's great.
And hearing you say that, I think that opened a door, I think, for me and many others. I mean, fortunately or unfortunately, our company, we get credited for, we're always in pursuit of talent at Keller Williams, right? Your roundtable exposed me to the opportunities of meeting more agents, but also collaborating with more agents. And so that's something that I'm very prideful about, because I try to bring professionals together, period. And I don't care if you're with Compass or EXP. I think collaboration of ideas is it's integral for our success. And really, it's crazy if I think about it. You probably started that because we had a table full of professionals from everywhere. I'm part of the Elite 20 group, and basically we've got 20 professionals. Most of us are all with different companies, but we're not bashful about collaborating, sharing our ideas, because I think together we all grow. We say it all the time. If you want to go fast, go by yourself. If you want to go far, go with others.
Oh, I like that.
Right? And that group, I think we're an example of that, as your group was in 2005.
Yeah.
Well, I bet too that with those relationships that you built over time, it's probably really enjoyable when you get the opportunity to be in a transaction together.
Absolutely.
You sell one of their listings, they sell one of yours.
Absolutely.
You know them as professionals, and I bet that would make it a lot more fun.
Mark, it's one reason why we do it, because again, in order to be in the group, again, we're not an elitist group, but again, there's some targets that you have to hit. Again, you have to serve a lot of clients, right? Which we're fortunate to do. But we know that when I have a chance to work with Kimberly, Brad, Nick, Jerry, typically those transactions are really pretty smooth and easy, right? Because we're all professionals. At the end of the day, I'm advocating for my client, you are yours, right? But it's going to be a win-win, or there's no deal. I mean, you're not going to rape and pillage the village, right? And that's not going to happen, right? We're all professionals, and when it's all said and done, there's hugs and kisses and handshakes.
It's got to keep you on your toes, too, and up your game. When you're working with other professionals, you can't be slouchy.
No, you can't. No.
Got to be on your game.
You cross the T's, you dot the I's, and they appreciate that.
Yeah, I think that's so cool.
Isn't the next step to that does that sort of the Rise and Grind show? Is that sort of a take off to that?
It's so interesting you bring that up, and I appreciate the plug. I can tell you, when I created that, it was all about collaboration. I wanted to bring top professionals who weren't just with
Wait, this is a real deal?
This is a real deal.
Rise and Grind?
It started in
2021.
Why didn't you tell me about that? That is awesome. Rise and Grind?
Thank you. Rise and Grind.
It's in my notes.
Yes, yeah. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you, co-host.
So what's crazy is, I think you just said that you've had, about 35?
37.
And this is our 37.
Episodes here. So I think there we've done about 65 episodes.
Oh my God, that's
and
so awesome.
Yeah, just go to YouTube, search Ben Baker Dealmaker, and subscribe to the channel. I'd appreciate that. But again, my intent around it was I wanted to make sure that we collaborated and networked with top business professionals.
Right.
The majority of them are real estate related, right? And so every week it's at 10:30 Central Time, and it's on Zoom. right? Because we started this during COVID.
You do it daily?
It's every Tuesday at 10:30.
Tuesday.
Yeah, every Tuesday. And so it's anywhere from 15 minutes to 30 minutes, depending on my guest presenter, whatever's on their heart, whatever they want to talk about, right? Typically, it's about processes, systems, leadership, mindset, their story, their journey, whatever they want to talk about. Yeah, and it's been very successful. I'm proud of it. We're gaining viewership each and every week. I do think our trip to Anaheim last week is going to increase our numbers because I met so many people that have heard about it. Right? I had an opportunity to be on stage, and was again kind of an interview, process there also, but. I think it helped from an exposure standpoint because that was another reason why I was there, because I've been giving voice to so many top professionals who were even in the room. Fortunately, there must have been 15 people who've been on my show that were all in that audience.
And I want to know more about that voice.
Yeah.
I want to hear a minute or two about that voice. Your lead and succeed, your concern with the disparity of home ownership here in the Metroplex. I mean, what are you doing? And how are you leading? And give us some good nuggets.
Yeah, well, I think that we've come too far to do too little.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that the gap is shrinking, but it's at a snail's pace. And it could be frustrating, and so I choose not to look at it that way because, again, our words have power, right? I think my mission as a leader is to make sure that I'm educating, because so many of the folks in my community haven't had legacies. We're just now starting to have opportunities and legacy. I look at my own situation. Unfortunately, I just lost my mom, but my parents, I mean, they did the best they could. They didn't have some of the opportunities that my peers had, but even as young kids, we were fortunate and privileged. We thought we were rich, right? Because what was truly important is they gave us time, right? And we didn't want for a thing. Now, we might have to wait till Friday, till my parents got paid in order to get it.
Right.
But we got it. We got everything we needed. Not so much what we wanted, but we got what we needed.
I like that.
And we got time and attention and love. Yeah. That was most important.
That's what builds a foundation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so I'm excited now to one, stand on my pulpit, use my position to educate especially the minority community, which is growing in this area faster than the majority, right? That to build real opportunity, real wealth, home ownership is a key component the majority of the time to do that. And as we look over the last 3 years, especially, we've come through the top 2 real estate markets we've ever had. 2023 is projected to be the 3rd best real estate market we've ever had.
Oh, whoa.
Right? Those are projections. If and when that happens, and regardless if it does or doesn't, when you look at what's happened over the last few years, if you bought a home, and I had 3 clients who bought a home only in those homes for 15 months and 18 months. The old rule of thumb was you needed to be in that home at least 4, 5, 6 years before you had enough equity to sell it, move on, go buy something else. Now you got a hefty down payment, right? COVID changed the game. 2 people in the home less than 18 months. One client made in excess of $136,000. Another client made $154,000. I use those examples to show that they benefited because they were in the game.
Yeah.
You sat on the sidelines and you moan and groan that you're not ready, you don't like that neighborhood. I will tell you that's the neighborhood you need to buy in, because if that's where your money affords you to be, jump in that neighborhood, right? Get in the game, take care of the property, pride of ownership will kick in, right? Spend 2 or 3 or 4 years, you and I have known each other almost 20 years. It feels like it was about 6 years ago.
I know.
Right? Time flies.
It does.
Now all of a sudden, if you decide that you're ready to take the next step, you've been in that home 3, 4, 5 years, trust me, you've made darn good money, right? Which now will afford you to be in the neighborhood that you really wanted to be in.
I love it.
Right?
That's
Well,
why
in
it's so
addition to that,
beautiful.
you get some tax write-offs.
Yeah.
You get your real estate taxes, your
There's
interest on your
so
home.
many benefits.
Now, I think that there's a lot of people out there, though, and a lot of minority groups that they need help
Yes.
in learning how they can become a homeowner.
Yes.
I think that there can be an attitude that is like, that's not for me, I can't do that.
Right.
And no matter who you are, you know.
Well,
and so I
particularly
think
if you follow the media.
exactly. But to have
you'd
these
all of a sudden say,
professionals
"It's not
that have
me."
been out there
Yeah.
and what you've been preaching
Yeah.
here, educate, educate,
Right,
educate.
right.
But I think specifically, you know, we can so casually write it off as, oh, they're first-time home buyers. Well, hey, they're first-time home buyers. Or here's a potential person whose legacy has been rent, and I'm going to change their legacy for their family. I mean,
Absolutely.
I think that's so huge.
Probably
you know.
change their financial destiny as well by doing so.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Not a plug for Ed Milet, because up until 3 days ago, I never even heard of that guy, right?
Yeah.
I'm hearing now that he's, if not the highest, he's probably in the top 3 highest paid speakers in the entire world, right? He was our keynote speaker, and I can tell you that he made an impact I've heard keynote speakers for the last 22 years while I've been at Keller Williams on the main stage. But this guy, there might have been 15,000 people in the crowd. There wasn't one dry eye, not one.
Wow.
And it was all about his message. And you talk about changing course and direction. His was, I'm the one, right? I'm the one who can change the trajectory of my family's history. I'm the one who
That gives me cold chills that we talk like this.
that I'm the first college educated in my family. I'm the first homeowner. I didn't spend the last 20 years living at my grandparents' house, right? Because my parents never bought. My mom grew up in that house. I grew up in that house. We've never owned anything. I'm the one. You put that pressure on yourself, right? To change the history. I now see that happening, and I'm so excited about it. And again, I'm not going to dwell on minority ownership at 45%, where the majority, Caucasians typically, are at about 75%, right? We know that changes the game, and we now have to get in the game.
Well, the system's been set up for the white
Absolutely,
person.
it has.
It has not been for minorities, and that is changing.
It's changing, for
That's
sure.
changing, and we're seeing it in our lifetime. I think it's so beautiful. There's still a long way to go.
There is.
Well, that's why I think it's so relevant. Ben kind of said, know why I'm here. Well, part of it is it's Black History Month, but why he's here is he's one of the top 5 producers in a field of 600 in his office. I've known Ben a long time. He's a top producer.
Right.
So, but I know what his heart and his mission is. When we had lunch recently about what he wants to focus on to bring that ownership opportunity into the minority side, and there's no better person I know
And he's
to,
got the
to lead.
passion. You've been through it, man.
Yeah.
I have.
Yeah.
All of
and
us
I
who've been through it have the passion.
Even all of this collaboration is so important, because you know what? It's great for you, right? When we're included. It's great for you when we're not excluded,
Right.
right?
Right.
We're brought in.
Yeah.
And so
Let me say, hell yes.
right? There's some benefit to it, right? And I think economically, we talk about consumer price index that's about to come out, right? I can assure you that when we're participating in home ownership, this entire country, this entire world and/or nation will thrive better.
Absolutely.
When we all have an opportunity, a fair
Right.
shot. That's all we want.
Yeah.
That's all we want.
When there's a system for all,
Right.
when there's a system that works for human beings,
Right.
then
Right.
we all win. That
Right.
is a win-win. When we segregate ourselves
Yeah.
and we tribal up,
Right.
that's going to be the death of all of us, right? So I think it's super important. And so talk to me some more about what you were teaching. How are you leading and succeeding with your team?
Well, I think first and foremost,
And how does that include marketing? You gotta talk a little bit about
it's all about marketing,
Yeah.
because so many of us feel like, well, my credit's not very good. I've got to work on my credit. We're now showing people that what's interesting is the average U.S. citizen now, homeowners, their credit rating is in the 700s, right? For our community, typically we hover somewhere around 580, 600. The old rule used to be about 620, right? We do have some lenders that can work with you. Unfortunately, the interest rates tend to be a little bit higher, but so many of our residents now, they've got really good credit, but they think it's not good enough. And it's like, oh, no, your credit is fine, right? So it's all about, we have to let them know that you're already in a position that you can buy,
It's
right?
busting those myths.
Absolutely, and that's myth number one. Myth number two is that, well, I don't really have a whole lot of money to put down. It's like, well, it doesn't take a whole lot of money to put down. Typically, you can go FHA, you can still do USDA in some rural markets, right? We're seeing that go away pretty quickly, but many of us can find 3.5% to put down.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we've got sellers who will contribute, to your closing costs. Builders, lenders can contribute, agents can contribute, whatever it is to get you into that property. So that's where we've started, and just getting over changing the mindset that I'm not ready to buy, but I'm like, are you kidding? You've been in that lease home now for 10 years. You've already bought, but you bought for them. You didn't buy for yourself. Once we got through that hurdle, now folks understand, because I've got a relative who spent more than 10 years in the same apartment. And that apartment, year after year, it kept going up, because initially, he was in it, it might have been $600, right? And you go, well, it was a good location, not, it was close to work. I could afford that. And then it went to $700, went to $800, went to $1,000, right? And it's like, no, you bought it for someone else. Right. Now it's time to build for yourself, start building equity. And I can show them that over the next 4 years, here's what you're looking at, right? And now we're going to take that money and either go buy something else. And if you've got kids, that's something that we're really pushing and promoting now. We talk about the 529 plans. The best plan out here is, to have an investment property. Have an investment property for little Susie, right? By the time she gets ready to go to Baylor, sick 'em Bears, right? There is plenty of opportunity right there to use that money to send her to Baylor or do whatever it is you want.
Refinance cash out.
I think first and foremost, those are the main 2 or 3 things that we're working on.
What about, Ben, uniqueness to the industry itself and more Black Americans getting into the real estate business? Is that, what's the prohibitor to that?
The prohibitor is, the main thing is this. When you get into this business, the success rate through that first year is only 15%.
Okay.
Okay. And the average agent who gets in, they don't see their first paycheck for 120 to 160 days on average. Unfortunately, many in the minority community are not in a position to go 4 months, 6 months without a check of some kind, right? So that's the main prohibitor.
Yeah.
I was fortunate that when I got in, Bob Bobbitt, who is a still prominent builder here in mostly in Collin County, Bob's a Baylor guy also, and I worked for him. And I told him that I was looking at getting into real estate. And he encouraged that, but he told me that I needed 2 years reserve, right, to enter this business. And I thought, I don't have 2 years. I had maybe 6 months, but I had no safety net at all. I was going to do it, period. And I did. Now, again, it took me a couple of years to make the money that I had walked away from in the corporate, field. But thank goodness I had the support of my parents who said, look, you've graduated from one of the most prestigious business schools in the country. You're a smart kid. You can do what you want to do. And you've got our support. And without their support, I wouldn't be here today. I'm so fortunate that, again, we talk about media, right? Media will portray in our community that I'm going to be raised by a single Black female or my grandmother, right? That's not our reality. Our reality is my parents, until I lost my mom just a week ago, my parents were married for 58, almost 59 years, right? I saw loving, supportive parents who allowed me to do and flourish in areas that I couldn't even imagine without their support.
Yeah.
Busting myths.
Yes, yeah. And I appreciate this opportunity for folks to hear that my reality is I'm raised in Plano, Texas, right? That's a community that embraced us. Even in the early 60s, we made up less than 1% of the total population of Plano, but never felt ostracized. We never felt like we were outsiders, ever. Right, so I appreciate that community. I love the community that we're part of, and the real estate community is the same. We're about inclusion. And, it's not a plug for Keller Williams, but I tell you, we've got the most diverse agent population of any company out there. I think Newsweek, so many magazines have named us the best workplace for women, business professionals, the happiest workplace. I can't even name all the I mean, there's so many things that make me proud to be part of this company and the real estate community, period.
Right.
Because, I mean, other companies are doing good things. This isn't about Keller Williams, but this is about the real estate community doing our part.
Yeah. And Keller is definitely a leader. It's a forerunner of things. So we look to see that happen more and more myths busted and more legacies established, you know? Well, we're out of time.
I know, it just goes like that.
Just like that, right?
But I want to do
I think we got to the places we wanted to get to.
We
Which
did.
is really
We
important
did.
for me today.
Yeah. And we'll have to have you. It's just an excuse.
Oh, gosh.
To get you back.
I love this.
Get you back. But I do want to get our 3 takeaways. So I like to do this at the end of the show for you to leave 3 things that you want to leave with the audience. And I'll let you think about it for a second. Mark, you go first. What are your 3 takeaways from this episode today with Ben?
You know, I probably have more of a focus on minority ownership in all categories because I've got Angie De Leon, and so I see closings happening in the Hispanic community.
Yes.
Yep.
And I see that joy of that first-time homeowner when they close at our office there. So I'm all about seeing the diversity move across our platforms to that side. So I think that's kind of the main really thought I have about this, and I do take time to recognize and consider like Black History Month because it is significantly important, and I have good friends, you know, and so I'm glad that we're recognized this in America because it's important, and I want to see that ownership increase in those opportunities to that side. So, and to Ben's point earlier too, don't get educated about how to buy a property and set the myth aside and don't watch the media and reach out to somebody like Ben who can help you navigate through because it's not that complicated if you've got somebody that knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
And he does. Yeah. So those are some of my thoughts.
I appreciate those. Yeah.
Ben?
Wow. I'd almost have to piggyback that. I think education is the key. That's one thing I'd like to leave with the audience is to reach out. Again, nowadays, years ago, I got referrals from, satisfied clients, right?
Yeah.
Today, what we're finding is you might still get a referral from a trusted individual, but then they typically go straight to Google. And I mean, I'll walk into an appointment now and folks have Googled me and they're telling me about me, right? And I'm like, that's interesting. Thank goodness, right? We're now on that bandwagon where we've got happy clients that are leaving us reviews. As a matter of fact, I just listed a property in Prosper, Texas about 3 hours ago. She came through Google, right? So I appreciate that. But I think you have to educate yourself. I would also employ leaders because I know that I'm one, that it's time to step up and lead, right? Because again, we've come way too far to sit back and do nothing, right? So I'm going to employ you to do that. And I would say third, you know what? Go to my YouTube channel.
Absolutely.
And subscribe because you'll find this video will be there, hopefully with some other
and give them
informative
that one more
things.
time, Ben.
Yeah, it's, go to YouTube. It's Ben Baker _Dealmaker, Ben Baker Dealmaker, and subscribe to the page. And I promise you that probably with the help of Sandy now, we'll have great content there that'll help educate you and keep you moving forward.
Awesome. It's been such a joy having you here. 3 things for me is piggybacking on everything both of you have said. To get the soulish point out is it's just time in our world that we lay down our differences and we celebrate who we all are, each one individual, every group. And I'm very proud to be able to celebrate Black History Month. Sometimes I feel a little shy about things like that because I'm an entitled white person and I get embarrassed. It's like, how can I contribute because we've been the problem? But yet I haven't been the problem. I've got lots of friends and family members that are of color, and I love them. You know, I've had great experiences my whole life like that, and so I just want to share that love. I think that's really what it's all about, is just sharing the love and drop the boundaries. And like I said earlier, a system that works for all is a system that's a win-win, and we should not be afraid of that.
Amen.
You know, so we got to get rid of our fear.
Amen.
And then just a quick marketing tip that I promised you guys I would give you is that if you are not marketing to your database, if you're not staying in touch with your database, you are missing the most important marketing initiative that you can have as a business owner, no matter what you do, if you're a realtor or if you're a restaurant owner. So make sure that you are not just doing a wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Right. You know, you close on the house and you give them the little gift and then you never see that realtor again, which that's happened to me more times than I like to have to talk about, but it's true. So realtors, stay in touch. Become an integral part of that new family that you just put into a home. Stay in touch. Send them information. Talk to them. Because I promise you, you'll get a call 10 years from now, 5 years from now, or 2 years from now saying, hey, I have a need. I've got a friend. My daughter's going to college. We're wanting to downsize or upsize or whatever. And that is how the game works. But if you're not paying attention to your clients, shame on you. So pay attention. Stay in touch. Drip on them. Do whatever you need. Call me. I'll help you. I'll brainstorm and I'll show you and tell you how you can do that where you're not a nuisance. But it's very, very important to do that, and I just wanted to leave that with you guys.
One thing I comment as a final myth buster, home ownership is still the great American dream.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's still the great American dream.
Amen.
It is the foundation which gives us that place that we feel at home.
It does.
Yeah, I
At
believe
home.
it. Yeah.
And I'm so grateful
At
for
home.
that.
I love
Yeah.
it. Probably a very appropriate way to end this, at home.
I would think so.
Right?
At home. Yes.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everybody. Ciao. We'll see you next
See you next month.
March 24th. We'll be streaming live, so stay in touch.
Ciao.
Ciao.